Viridian, The Green Guide, written by Clouds, read by Distracted by Books, Chapter 101, Cavalry. I need Eraser's number. Kotsky ran a hand through his hair and shook his head in response to Uraraka's questioning glance as he held the phone to his ear. Izuku, the second round is starting at literally any moment. Can't you get it yourself? If I was still at home, I would, Izuku said, but the Wi-Fi on the train is terrible and I need to stay on the move. He's your homeroom teacher, so you have his number for emergencies and stuff, right? Yeah, I do, but he started, but Uraraka nudged him and he looked toward the stage to see Midnight already climbing the podium. Shit, fine, I'll text it to you. Thanks, Kanchan, click. Kotsky hung up and shoved the phone in his pocket just as Midnight started talking. Hello, students! Are you ready for your next round of torture? Kotsky forced himself to pay attention. Sure, the nerd calling and demanding Eraserhead's number with zero explanation was super suspicious, but he didn't have time to worry about that right now. He and Cheeks had another round to win. We've seen how capable you are of overcoming obstacles, but can you play well with others? Midnight asked dramatically. This next round is all about teamwork. If you don't have chemistry with your teammates in the cavalry battle, you'll be screwed. Midnight went over the rules and everything seemed pretty self-explanatory. Teams of 2 to 4, rider couldn't touch the ground, don't knock anybody over on purpose, steal all the points. Easy as pie, except for then she explained the point values. And of course, Midnight grinned, the ones at the top will suffer the most. First place winner of the obstacle course will be worth a whopping 10 million points. Kotsky heard a small squeak beside him and turned to see Uraraka looking more nauseous than usual. In hindsight, maybe he should have waited for Icy Hot to pass before shoving Cheeks over the finish line. But, oh well, live and learn. Oi, Cheeks, calm down. Kotsky grabbed her shoulders. You're gonna be just fine, all right? You're gonna make these guys regret underestimating you, all right? Uraraka took a deep breath and her eyes filled with enough determination to make Kotsky grin. Yeah, I can do this. Plus ultra. Plus ultra, bitch. Kotsky looked around. Now, which of these extras do you want on our team? Oh yeah, definitely him. He stalked off, shooting off a quick text to Izuku with Eraserhead's number as Uraraka followed behind him until they reached a group of blank-eyed hero students. Oi! Eyebags! Let go of those dummies! You're with us! Shinso raised an eyebrow at him. Why would I do that? Your girlfriend over there has a target on her back a mile wide. Kotsky grinned. That just means that'll be even more impressive when we win. Plus, you're going underground, right? Being the rider will draw way too much attention, but if we help her win... Hey! Uraraka put her hands on her hips. I don't need your help. Of course not, Cheeks. Kotsky said patiently, but helping you win gives the two of us a discreet chance to shine. It's mutually beneficial. Shinso hummed. So what you're suggesting is that we let the spotlight hero take all the attention while we hide in her shadow. Does that sound about right? Kotsky shrugged. Pretty much. So, you in? Shinso sighed. I don't actually have a choice, do I? Nope. Kotsky smirked and shoved Monkey Boy to knock him out of Shinso's quirk. Now come on. Let's go get our rider. Uraraka jogged after him. I thought I was going to be the rider. You will be. Kotsky said, no one said we couldn't have two. So what? Shinso asked. We just each put one on our shoulders and hold hands or something? Nah, you don't actually want him touching you. Kotsky narrowed his eyes and searched until he saw who he was looking for. Oi, dunce face, get over here. The kids are doing pretty well, Mike remarked. That Gen Ed student you told me about is pretty impressive. He got into the second round. Good. Now we don't have to come up with an excuse for his transfer. Shota said, he's got a real-world save under his belt, so I already started the paperwork with Nedzu. but he insisted we wait until after the sports festival to make it official. Mike played with the sleeve of his jacket. Do you really think he'll be able to save Shirakumo? Shota sighed. With enough training, yes. It's part of why I want him in the hero course. The villain factory's hold on Shirakumo is tighter than it was on Ogawa, so there's no guarantee, but if Shinso can keep strengthening his quirk, he might just be able to pull it off. He also works well with Bakugo, Mike pointed out. They'll be one hell of an underground duo if they decide to team up. We need more underground heroes. We do, Shota agreed. Now, if only we can convince Viridian to get a license, they can be a trio. What the hell are those problem children doing now? Hitoshi focused on keeping a straight face as Cementos stared at their team like he was reevaluating all of his life decisions. Midnight just looked like she was about to laugh as her eyes moved back and forth between where he and Bakugo were standing stone-faced on the ground with Uraraka on their shoulders and Kaminari, who was floating 15 feet above them in the air. They had managed to find an extension cord in one of the closets backstage and tied one end around Kaminari's waist, while the other was insulated and currently tied around Uraraka's wrist. It almost looked like she was a little kid getting a piggyback ride and trying not to lose a very special balloon after a long day at an amusement park. Well, that's definitely some creative thinking on the part of Team Uraraka, or would that be Team Kaminari? President Mike asked. Well, either way, let's ask the biggest question on everyone's mind right now. Is that even allowed? Why the hell wouldn't it be? Bakugo argued calmly. Octopus over there has 2 riders. If he can have both the grape and the frog, we get Pikachu and Gravity Girl. Midnight lost her battle with laughter and giggled. As long as he never touches the ground, normal rules for riders apply. It's okay. Bakugo scoffed. Told you it'd be fine. Uraraka gave a breathy sigh of relief. I seriously thought we were going to get disqualified or something. Kaminari, you still good up there? Kaminari grinned and gave them a thumbs up. Hitoshi let the corner of his mouth twitch up into a tiny smile. He'd heard Bakugo's strategy, and Kaminari and Uraraka had both added their own 2 cents, so it looked like they might actually have a chance. But even if they didn't manage to hold on to the 10 million points, they could always steal more. So if Kaminari has the headband, who has the ability to get it from him? Hitoshi asked. Are there any hero students that have flight quirks? No one can fly, but we tend to get creative. Bakugo grinned. Besides me, Cheeks, and Pikachu up there, our biggest threat is going to be Tornado over there. He means Inasa. Uraraka translated. He has a wind manipulation quirk, so he can easily blow himself up there or blow Kaminari down. So we go straight for his team first and get him under my control. Hitoshi stared toward Inasa's team in determination, assuming, of course, that he doesn't ruin all our plans before then. Is everybody ready? Midnight did a final sweep with her whip and cracked it sharply. Go! The winds around them picked up as every single other team made a beeline for them. Instead of running away, however, their team pushed forward and Hitoshi yelled to be heard above the wind, Hey, Tornado Kid! What makes you think you even have a chance at winning this? Inasa laughed and took the bait. With enough passion, anything! Hitoshi smirked as Inasa's face went slack. He recognized the other members of his team as Bakugo's other friends that he had met at the hospital, which meant that even if they didn't know exactly how his quirk worked, they still knew Hitoshi was responsible, and it was only a matter of time before they figured out how to wake him up. How chaotic should I make this fight? Go for more rather than less, Uraraka suggested. If people are distracted, they're less likely to figure out a way to get our headband. That's what I was thinking. Hitoshi turned back toward Inasa. With the exception of ours and yours, blow everyone else's headbands into the air. Bakugo laughed and they ran away as almost everyone's headbands were literally blown off their heads and started blowing away. Good thinking, eyebags. Windboy will be too busy defending his headband to worry about us, and the rest of those extras are playing 52 card pickup. Not everyone, Uraraka pointed out. A couple 1B kids managed to keep theirs, and Mineta was protected from the wind by Shoji's arms. Same thing applies, though, Hitoshi said. If they kept their headbands, they'll have to defend them. If they didn't, they have to either chase it down or steal one from someone else. For us, it's a win-win. Whoa, Kaminari yelled, and they looked up. Guys, when did Todoroki get a jetpack? Shota glared at his phone as it rang for the third time. The first call could have been a telemarketer, but 3 calls in a row from the same unknown number? Either there was an emergency or the telemarketers were getting more persistent. And it had to be one hell of an emergency if they were calling him in the middle of the sports festival. After another moment, Shota muted his mic and picked up. What do you want? Show! Mike squawked. That's not how you're supposed to answer the phone. Shota rolled his eyes at him, then almost dropped his phone as he heard Viridian's voice. Eraser! Thank God, I almost thought Kacchan had given me the wrong number. Mike gave him a concerned look as he ran out into the hall, but Shota couldn't be bothered to care. No, he gave you the right one. What's going on? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, Viridian panted, but I need you to get me into the stadium. You mean the one where we're holding the sports festival? Shota groaned. Problem child. We have increased security to keep villains and vigilantes out. That includes you, kid. I know, but it's an emergency, Viridian whined. One of your students is Queen Bee's current host, and this might be our only chance to save her. Shota blinked. Use the service entrance on the east side. I'll grab Nedzu and meet you in prep room 3. Ochaku kept a firm grip on the extension cord and swung Kaminari away from Todoroki as best she could, grateful that he also seemed to be using his magnetism to maneuver himself as well. That left Bakugo and Shinso to fight off the rest of Team Todoroki. Get your head out of the clouds, dunce face, Bakugo screamed. Fry the stupid jetpack. I'm trying, Kaminari yelled back. I don't have explosions to guide my momentum like you do, Kacchan. Don't you dare touch my babies, the support student warned them. If you break them... Babies? Shinso asked. Do you really have children already? My inventions! Her eyes lit up briefly before going blank. Good work, eyebags. Bakugo smirked. Now let's see what those babies can do. What did you do to Hatsume? Ida demanded. Why would you... Hand over the hover boots, Shinso ordered. Those should help Kaminari maneuver, right? Yeah. Ochaku yanked on the cord, allowing an ice attack to fly straight over Kaminari's head. Pikachu, I'm bringing you down. Kaminari glanced toward Todoroki. Please hurry! What are you thinking? Yaoyorozu shook Hatsume's shoulder, and Shinso lunged forward, grabbing the boots from her hands before she could reorient herself and shoving them into Kaminari's hands as soon as he got close enough. Use those to take out Icy Hot, he ordered. Hurry! Ochaku meant to let him up slowly. She really did. But then Yaoyorozu started attacking her with a quarterstaff, and she had to let go to defend herself, so he just went rocketing upwards. He didn't lose his grip on the hover boots, though, so points to him. Ochaku tried floating Yaoyorozu, but she kept making thin pieces of armor that she could simply detach whenever Ochaku made contact, so she could never float her actual body. She heard Kaminari yell in triumph, and Ochaku looked up, getting an idea right as Todoroki started falling. His team took a second to realize they probably needed to catch him, and in that moment, Ochaku yanked off the plastic insulating her end of the extension cord and plugged it in, for lack of a better term, Ida's arm. Kaminari was producing enough ambient electricity to stun them, but because he wasn't plugged into it, not enough was going down the cord to seriously harm them. Bakugo and Shinso scrambled backward, and Todoroki made an ice slide to land at least somewhat safely using an ice bridge so they didn't touch the ground as his team slowly recovered. Bakugo whistled. Wow, Cheeks, that was brutal. I mean, it worked, but I didn't expect you to go that hard. Ochako blushed and put the plastic piece back on the cord. We needed to get them off our backs, right? Shinso shook his head. Remind me never to mess with you. Ochako grinned. Never mess with me. Noted. Shinso responded dryly. Who else? Shiozaki and Sue are both going for the 10 million now that Icy Hot's out of the way. Bakugo reported, but with those boots, Dunceface has that covered. Everyone else is still scrambling for the other headbands. What are you thinking? I think there's less than a minute left, Shinso said. Ochako smiled, touched both of their shoulders, and I think our advantage is in the air. Blasty, would you be so kind as to give us lift off? Bakugo grinned savagely, and Shinso held them together as they took to the air. They watched the rest of the mad scramble from above as the final 30 seconds ran out of the clock, and Ochako reeled Kaminari in right as midnight rang the final bell. Team Kaminari wins! End of chapter.